Hello and welcome to the Dr. Tara Hogan podcast. Today we have Amanda Stone, and she is a holistic mother of sorts, and she's written a book, and we're going to talk with her about clean beauty products, health in general, and in her book. So welcome, Amanda.
Thank you.
And yeah, I guess I want to start off right away, just kind of have you introduce yourself and kind of how you found yourself on this path of just other ways of health.
Yeah, absolutely. I am Amanda Stone. Thank you so much for having me. And I'm an integrative health practitioner. That's my title. But really, underneath this umbrella, there's a lot of things kind of go into it. And I go by the holistic mama. So a lot of my content and what I really focus on does include families. It's men, women, and children. I like to really do a deep dive with people and figure out the root cause of what they have going on. Most people that get to me have exhausted a lot of their more traditional medicine or, kind of like gone through all their resources, and now they are getting to me because they just want to know what's actually going on. So that's my trade. And then, yes, I have a skincare line and fragrances. I kind of just took all of the things that I use a lot of and made them non-toxic. Like my favorite perfume, I recreated it. My favorite essential oil blend, I recreated it. And then I just kind of like built onto that. Things that I'm going to be using every day, I clean my house with, and I want safe for me and my son. And I have a baby on the way, so safe for that one too. And what drew me to all of this and how I got started is actually, it was a chiropractor. It was, yeah.
Cool.
So I was 19 years old. My younger sister, she's much younger, she was 5, and she was dealing with some health issues and something, even though I was really young, something really didn't sit right about the kind of care she was getting. And I had a friend who was a very new chiropractor. Now he has this amazing practice, but I brought her to him to give me a different kind of opinion. And he corrected every single thing that was going on, and like she didn't need to be medicated and changed her life. And B, it also made me think like, well, if her doctor was it was so misleading, and like she was getting such inappropriate care, like where else are we going wrong, or like what else are we doing just blindly trusting that is not
Mhm.
the best for us. And I
Yeah.
again, I was only 19. And then that really had like a huge resurgence when I had my first pregnancy, and I learned about prenatal care, labor and delivery, and pediatrics. And then I was like, okay, there's a lot here that like people just don't know, and people need to start learning and hearing
Yes.
these things.
Yes. Awesome. Yeah. And I think now, just this week, with like the bombshells that have been dropped,
Hmm.
something a chiropractor posted yesterday in the ICPA group, which is the Pediatric Chiropractors Association.
Hmm.
And he said we need to just be giving people options instead of like bashing Tylenol. Like maybe we should say, hey, there's other ways you can relieve pain. Pregnancy is hard. Like there's a lot going on with the body. I call it the stress test of the body.
Hmm.
So he was saying, let's really spread the word that you don't even have to mess with Tylenol
Hmm.
if you have proper chiropractic care during your pregnancy, because a lot of the common aches and pains during pregnancy can be alleviated pretty simply.
Right.
Usually within a couple of visits. It's usually not that complicated. But that's really cool that your friend is a chiropractor and you kind of like started down this path
Hmm.
on your holistic journey.
Yes.
Yeah, that's so cool. I wanted to ask you about, I thought it was really interesting how you were saying that so many products that women use, what was it? What was the amount of chemicals you said on average that women?
I think it's over 150 before you leave the house.
Yeah, that's just wild.
Yeah.
Like what for like somebody who's maybe like just kind of getting into this and trying to figure out like, well, what can I buy? Like what specifically on a label should I like really not gamble with? Like, what would be some of the top things?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think like there's so many ways to answer this, but I think that it's really important to narrow things down. And one of the biggest things that pops up for me when you ask that is like where you're putting it. So, like
Yeah.
deodorant, that's a really, really, really big one that everybody uses, men, women, and children, and it's placed right on a lymph site, and women shave, and it's such a vulnerable spot. So, I don't just want to say aluminum in products, but also like aluminum placed there, that is just like, no, 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 no. So, I think of course, it is the ingredients, but it's also your use. It's kind of twofold. And
Mm-hmm.
then also, I think like rather than ingredients to look out for, there are some sneaky ones. Like for example, phenoxyethanol. That's something that's put in a lot of natural products
Mm-hmm.
that actually does have side effects and isn't so natural, but they get away with putting it in there because it's like
Yeah.
naturally derived.
So what is that usually in?
Oh, lots of things. Definitely in shampoos, lots of hair
Okay.
products, just
Yeah.
normal hygiene products. You'll see it pop up, some skincare. But I
Yeah.
think it's important to actually just be able to recognize what is in your products.
Yeah.
Less is really more. I think I'm 38, almost 39. When I was 28, I think I used way more products on my skin,
Mm-hmm.
and like when you really start to make the changes and give your body only what it needs, your skin really does adapt and it doesn't need all of these topical treatments. It's really
Yeah.
so much more from the inside. So whatever you put on your skin should be like recognizable, like things that you might
Yeah.
have at home, like you could probably make this yourself. Not that everyone's going to do that, but that's how I started.
Yeah.
I've been making these products like my own bug spray for years and years, and then TikTok Shop started and I was like, I should put these on there. And that's
Awesome.
like how it was born.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I love,
Yeah.
like, I heard you say, like, if you wouldn't put it in your mouth, like, don't put it on your skin.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, a lot of it is just kind of common sense. We've just been led so astray. And like, one of my big pet peeves is just like mass media telling women, like, you're broken.
Mm-hmm.
You need all this external stuff to be beautiful, to be healthy. And so women are just like targeted
Mm-hmm.
with, this is the magic thing that's going to give you whatever outcome it is. And I mean, I think I remember in college, I was an athlete and I was like nowhere needing to like shed any weight, but like I was like, oh, what's this ephedra stuff? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, it must be safe because it's on the market.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So
Yeah.
I think that, yeah, like quick fixes and just like, I think it's hard for people too when they see it just out there advertised as just everywhere that they think, oh, this is safe.
Yeah. Definitely
And
there's
especially the natural brands now that you're saying like they're sneaking this stuff in there.
mm-hmm.
So I guess you could say like a rule of thumb would be if you wouldn't eat it or don't know how to pronounce it,
Mm-hmm.
don't use it.
Yeah, I mean your skin is just one great big mouth, just absorbing everything, and you don't have the same digestive process, which does a really good job of parsing out what do you need and what do we get rid of, what's waste, what do we bind up, what do we process. And your skin is just there's no filter. It's just
Yeah.
absorbing everything. Then, not to mention, so there's the whole category of things you're putting on it, and then there's the whole category of things that you don't even realize are making their way into your skin from just living, just going outside, and there's another group.
Yeah.
So we have to be really diligent about what we are exposing ourselves to. I get, of course, online, there's a lot of feedback responses and a
Uh-huh.
lot and so many people are still of the belief that you have a liver, that's your liver's job, like you don't need to detox, you don't need
Mhm.
to do all these things, but our livers were not built for today's day and age.
Yeah, I mean, I was at this big chiropractic convention, and one of the women who spoke there was her name's Dr. Bobby Dosher, and it has been taking care of children, and I think she's been in practice for like 50 years, like a really long time. And she was saying that the cases that were brought into her that she could heal within a couple adjustments now take months, because the load that is on us is just different. I mean, from technology to light to pesticides and products. And I mean, I hate to say, like, we live in such a toxic world, but
We do.
it's just not the same. Like, it's not anywhere near what it used to be. And then the food, of course, the food source.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, it's just we're up against a lot, and
Mhm.
I find it's very, very important to be really diligent about that. Like, even starting with my own child, just he understands detoxification, he understands how it works and why he takes certain things annually, and he's good about it. It's so important. That's not how I grew up, like, at all.
Oh, me
But
neither.
it is
Yeah.
now how I think it is a requirement now. And to be fair, since I have made a ton of changes, learned a lot, like, I feel a million times better. And my son is super healthy and he rarely gets sick. So, like, I mean, there's something to it. It's obviously
Yeah.
working when you're
Yeah.
really on top of these things.
Absolutely. So I want to ask you, leading kind of into like kids and babies, you're
Hmm.
expecting your second baby.
Yes.
And I would love to know kind of some of the best baby care things that you could suggest as far as like skin, anything,
Yeah.
or like just in general. I think people to want to, make sure they're using good soaps, or,
Yeah.
like what kinds of things would you suggest there?
For sure. So one like amazing resource is ewg.org. They have the Skin Deep database. I would run anything by that because maybe there is some ingredient. It even could be like the botanical name for some essential oil or something like that, and you might not recognize it and be like, "Well, I wouldn't eat that because I don't know what it is." And then you can find out it's natural. Excuse me. But then as far as like what I put on the baby, I actually just created an oil. And of course, because I'm thinking like about my dry, stretching skin and
Yeah.
then the baby afterwards, it's called Held. I have a bottle of it right here. So it's a little hard to see, but Held, and it's body oil, great for the stretching. It's designed for stretch marks, the formula, also for the breasts, the thighs. I am so dry this pregnancy, and this is like a lifesaver. And it's gentle enough for infant massage. And I think that, like, I mean, I could totally geek out on every ingredient in it, but jojoba oil is something really, really incredible because it mimics the skin's natural sebum.
Hmm.
And therefore, a lot of the issues that we have with skin are because of a depleted skin barrier or a skin barrier that needs repair. And that's the tricky thing about these products. So a lot of our harsh cleansers and things that we put on, we don't realize are diminishing our skin's barrier and causing the reason why we are using the product. Causing the wrinkles, the redness, the breakouts, because our skin is like stripped of
Yeah.
what it really needs. And, we're all conditioned to think like that we all have, I'm oily, I'm dry, I
Yeah.
have normal skin, whatever. This T-zone. Okay. There's truth to some of that, but some people like really shy away from oil. But when it mimics your skin's natural sebum, everything's going to adapt to just work.
Yeah.
And you
That
don't
makes a
need a
lot of
lot.
sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like if you are more oily, a little bit more prone, maybe, or I live in Florida. I'm not dousing my face in oil every single day, but I use oil all over my body. It's hot and sweaty here, but you only need a little bit, and like your skin is going to react and do the rest. So this oil that I created, it's safe for baby, and that's the only thing that's going to be used on my new little one. And I really like that protective layer of the jojoba
Awesome.
oil that's in it. Yeah.
I'd always known that was good, but I didn't know like exactly why. So I'm
Mhm.
really excited to know that. So I'm really curious, like what your take is on sunscreen because I'm hearing all kinds of things about sunscreen. How do you do sunscreen?
Yeah, so that's a big one, and that's a triggering one.
Yeah.
So sunscreen. So the short answer is I do not use it on myself or my son unless we are going to be out for a very extended period of time in peak sun.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, neither one of us burn easily at all. So
Yeah.
it's very important to know your skin type and to know, like, if you are getting to the point, like past the point of a little pink, you need to have some sort of protection, or it would be a best practice to have some sort of protection. That being said, also what you're using matters. That's a
Yeah.
huge, like, very, very, very toxic industry. But there
Yeah.
are alternatives. I really don't have a favorite. I'd say that, like, Raw Elements is literally food grade. That's a great brand. And Sunbum is a more mainstream, like you could get it at your local drugstore, and it's not terrible. You don't want anything in those cans. That's
Yeah.
double. Like, you're inhaling that, so is everyone around you,
Yeah.
and you're putting it on your skin. That's just, those are no, like, I would never. And when other people are spraying it, I move. Like, I don't want to be near those cans.
I feel like yes, the breathing it in is just like I mean, you choke. It's just
Yeah, you can
yeah.
taste it from
Yes, it
yards
feels so
away.
so inconsiderate. I feel like
Yes.
sometimes I'm like, please,
Yeah,
yeah,
I
go
I
somewhere.
completely agree. So, yes, we only use it if we're going to be in peak sun, like middle of the day, and for an extended period of time where I know our skin and I know that we will burn if we don't do some sort of a
Yeah.
protection. But beyond that, like my son's never peeled in his life. And the sun has a lot of benefits that we don't
Yeah.
want to shy away
Yeah.
from. Like, we're all deficient in vitamin D. We're all supplementing vitamin D. Even
Hmm.
with supplementation, a lot of us still have low levels. I see it all the
Yeah.
time on labs. So, like, we need the sun. Like, the sun gives everything life. We are not immune to the life force
Absolutely.
energy.
Absolutely. I think people are starting to kind of figure this out because my mother-in-law she just sent me an article about how sun's good for you. My husband and I were like, we've been saying that for
Yeah, I mean, I
we're like,
feel,
we're glad it's hitting the mainstream finally, but
yeah, I feel similarly about the Tylenol.
oh
That
yes, yes, me
conversation,
too.
I'm
I'm
like,
like
yeah, we've been
kind of
shying
not
away
new.
from that for a long time and
Yeah,
knowing a lot of the risks.
yeah,
It's not a new conversation, but I'm
right.
just so glad it's all in circulation of conversation.
Yes,
It's
yes,
about time.
absolutely, absolutely. So, what are some things that you're doing or like in your pregnancy, and
Mhm.
like what would be like some routines or regimens, things that you do to keep feeling good?
Yeah, that's a great question because this pregnancy has been so much more challenging than the last one. So there's definitely, I feel like I need to speak to the fact that, like, everything, you can just have such wildly different pregnancies, and
Mm-hmm.
also that it's like very comforting for me to know that maybe I don't feel so great, but like baby's taken care of. For example, like, I just found out I have, like, in the toilet iron ferritin levels. I'm like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And because, like, I feel I'm fatigued and, like, so short of
Yeah,
breath. So, that being said, I think, like, staying on top of all of your levels is really important. I've put out a piece of content about giving a urine sample at every appointment. Thousands of women are like, I don't do that. And I was like, what? Like, that's just so crazy to me. It's very simple, and you can get your own pH strips, and like, you
yeah,
could do it yourself, but like, there's important levels on there. So
yeah,
I think staying on top of all of that information can really, like, take you to the next level, because a lot of people are like, yeah, I mean, like, I'm pregnant, obviously I'm tired. If I didn't realize this about my iron levels, I'd have a harder time postpartum, my baby would have less iron to use, and the rest of this pregnancy would be pretty awful. So I'm
yeah,
making
yeah.
adjustments.
Yeah.
Then I also really, I've really like stuck to my supplements that I feel are really helpful and important, like teas as well, even just like benefiting from milk
Hmm.
thistle tea and just keep making sure my liver is clean and good. I really prioritize rest, like which is hard for my personality and my schedule,
Yeah.
but I just value the fact that I might not look like I'm doing anything, but actually I'm doing so much.
Yeah.
And like, I need to take the rest so that I can get back to other things at some point.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Especially in the beginning, I realized I sort of had like a golden hour. And that would be my time. It was like close to the morning to do, like, I would make a decision of this is what I set out to accomplish today. And I knew like it had to be in that window because if I missed that, it probably wasn't going to get done. And like that wasn't good for my head. So I established that for myself and it could be any time. Like for me, it was closer to my morning, probably caffeine. And once that wore off, it was like, that's not getting done. You're
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
give it up.
I think that's really smart. And I think, just it's a great time to help you adapt to having that next baby.
Mm-hmm. So true.
And yeah, like just I've heard people say, like, before you even have a baby, just try to make space in your life and in your day
Yeah.
for it, because then you maybe won't be as blindsided. I don't know. I felt kind of blindsided every baby. You just never know what to expect. But I think that is great preparation. And I think with my last one, I just having four kids already, I was like, yeah, I have to rest. Like
Yeah.
it was non-negotiable. And I just started, it really forced me to like delegate more,
Mm-hmm.
especially when you're a doer,
Mm-hmm.
right? It forced me to kind of farm some things out and delegate stuff, and it's carried over, and it's been really helpful. I feel like I'm in a lot healthier place for going through that and just
Yeah.
spreading some things out and asking for help, because that was a real big challenge I've had in the past.
Yeah, absolutely. And like there's this incredible book that I read the first time, The 41st Days, that it's pretty popular, but it is just a really good snapshot of how in other countries, the way that they treat the postpartum time is so different. And in here, like here, we really do, we go it all alone. Like
Yeah.
you might have a supportive partner, you might have a night nurse, okay, you might have like some support, but there used to be like an actual village and
Yeah.
people like really just in community helping you, whether that was making you food or massaging you or wrapping your belly or helping you like get the house clean so that you could do
taking
other
care of the other
things.
yeah taking care of the other
The other
children.
kids.
Yeah.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And like that, when you say like making space in your life, it's such a good point, and it's so important that my rest now and that prioritization of just myself and my own body is going to be really helpful to set the boundaries for like what I can and can't do, what I do and don't want when the baby's here,
Yeah.
and to actually like focus on him and like his needs, especially in those crucial first 40 days when like I'm
Yeah.
healing and he's in his fourth trimester, like,
Yeah.
and we don't, like, we just
Yeah.
go to the hospital, get an epidural, be on your way, you have a new baby, get back to
Yeah.
life, bounce back. Like, this is all it's
Yeah.
such craziness.
It is.
So unnatural.
It's so counterintuitive to, and then put them in a separate room and let them just deal and get them to learn to self-soothe. I mean, none of it. And I think a lot of women's instincts now are starting to figure this out. It
Hmm.
doesn't feel good.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I saw something today that was saying that like millennial parents are really changing the game and how like they are really just it's hard to blanket statement the future generations, but the way that
Hmm.
they're parenting is so different. I think it's so much more enlightened, kind of knowing
Yeah.
like things that don't feel natural because they're not. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Right.
like after you get so much unsolicited advice when you're pregnant. And after I had my first, whenever people would ask me, the first thing that always came to mind was people say, don't hold your baby.
Oh,
Hold your baby. Like,
or you're going to spoil them. You're going to
yeah,
spoil that
they're
baby.
never gonna sleep anywhere else if they fall asleep on you. Just things that where it's like,
Yeah.
absolutely not. Like, I just carried the baby in me for 9 months. The baby wants to be on me and hear my heartbeat and smell me and the sound of me and like, yeah, hold your baby. How long are
Yes.
you going to be able to hold your baby? Like, that's a temporary thing. So,
Yeah.
yes, hold your baby. And that's like,
Absolutely.
that's the way I really approach all of it. It's just,
Yeah.
this is what feels right. This is what works for our family.
Yep. Yeah. And with my third, I really woke up to a lot of things parenting wise and answering every cry and
Hmm.
like all, like being super attentive. Like I think with my second, I was overwhelmed and, I didn't, I was still really learning how to be a mom and
Hmm.
integrate everything. Cause when you go from one to two, I feel like it's just a huge
Yeah.
transition. But with my third, it was like I knew more. I'd been studying more about pediatric health, and I realized that they're developing their nervous system regulation
Hmm.
by you.
Yeah.
So if you answer that every cry, if you hold them, you're stimulating all of this development in the brain, and I can see the difference in my kids' confidence.
Hmm.
Just and I try not to blame myself because we don't know what we don't know, but like I can see they're like my little lab rats. I can totally see like how the ways I was doing things with the early kids is different with the later kids, and just like their confidence levels and how they learn, and it's just so different
Yeah.
just when you actually are supporting like the nervous system and the body and giving it actually what it was made to have.
Yeah, 100%. I am studying now under someone named Dr. Sam Rader. She is for many years she was a psychologist and she actually left psychology to birth this other incredible practice called source coding. And in source coding, and now I'm learning how to source code. So in source coding, every person, every adult is victim to 1 through 12. You could have all 12, you could have three of these coping styles. And they're
Mm,
developed similarly to the chakras, but wildly different kind of practice. But they're developed, and some of them are newborn injuries. It is
yeah. Wow.
it comes from not being attuned to, not being looked at, not being held enough, and a lot of these things were that's how people were told to treat
Yes.
their baby.
Yep.
And like not like having the good breast, bad breast experience, or being fed when you really were hot, or being, like having your diaper changed when
Yeah.
you were hungry. And all of these things like create wounds in us. And then we live our lives unnecessarily suffering through these wounds that were so avoidable. You can't
Wow.
avoid it all.
Yeah.
You can't. Like, nobody
Right.
is going to be perfect. And you're also not the only person responsible for developing a child. Like, they're out in the world. But I really do believe that having a more just in tune, natural experience with your babies and children is going to lead to children that are more regulated, more confident,
Yeah.
like better
Yeah.
learners, more just able to go throughout life without all of the unnecessary suffering that we tend to do.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think about that. And then I think about myself when I was really struggling when I
Hmm.
first had two kids. And what I realized is like maybe I could have known some of this stuff, but could I have executed it?
Hmm.
And I think that's where like mom's nervous system regulation is so important.
Yeah.
Like if I had prioritized myself and like started doing things and really paying attention to my needs, then you can serve your children so much better. So like I'm just like begging moms to like put yourself first, prioritize, because they're going to echo your nervous system regulation anyway. So I've been really trying to teach my patients to, really simple things that you can do. Obviously, there's a lot of avenues
Right.
into regulating your nervous system. There's
Yeah.
lots of people talking about it, which is wonderful.
Yes.
But I just love that. So this is called source code, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. It's really,
That's
really, really life-changing work. It's so
it
cool.
sounds so cool. And I think about just in the 80s when my sister and I were born, and just think about how, you would give birth and then they put you in a little plastic bin and roll you down the hallway, and you were separated, and what types of things, that I always had this separation anxiety as a kid, for probably way longer than, I felt like it should have been, but
Right.
maybe that was from a source injury of, very imprinting.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. I also 80s baby. I was born via C-section, and my mom was out, completely out.
Mm,
Not
yeah.
not Twilight, like she was unconscious, and I was just wheeled to a nursery.
Yeah. Right.
And then there's like the cascade of other things. I couldn't breastfeed. I was given formula.
Yeah.
I know like a lot of things, and it shows up. And some of the earlier wounds, there's one called frictive, there's one called disconnected, and they're feeding injuries. They're from like the very beginning of life, and I have both, and I'm working on both of these wounds in my life, and it's just, I mean, she's such a visionary and such a genius, Dr. Sam Rader. And if anyone's interested, it's drsamrader.com. You can take a free quiz and see what your predominant coping style is.
Mm,
But it's like that's just the tip of the iceberg. There's so much
yeah.
there. But yes,
Wow.
like these feeding injuries develop because if you are disconnected, it may be because that good breast, bad breast experience I mentioned, where like maybe you're having some nipple shoved in your mouth, but really like the sun was shining in your eyes, and that lack of attunement then leads
Mm,
you to a life of trying to be attuned to and feeling like no one attunes to you. What's the point in even
wow.
trying? Nobody gets me. I'm so alien. I don't know how to
Wow.
connect.
Wow.
And you just live this life of disconnection. So, like, there's so much there, there's so much to it. And I think a lot of it, unfortunately, not that the higher powers know about source code, but like a lot of it is by design. Like, there's so much division created between the family unit and then like the community unit, and like you have to be one of the crazy ones to not like fall into that, like to
Yeah.
bed share and to exclusively breastfeed, and like I'm
Yeah.
having a home birth, and like I don't know anyone else that does that. Like
Yeah.
it's just like you have to go against the grain and like
Yeah.
explain yourself to do things that are like totally natural and normal.
Yeah. That is such a huge reason why I wanted a podcast,
Hmm.
because I want to normalize this stuff. I mean, I think more and more people are waking up, and I think the more we can talk about it and vocalize it and just spread it, that's a huge reason I'm doing this. And I'm so glad you shared that, because I just think this information is so important, you know?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm
Thank you
so
for
glad you
sharing.
have a platform where people can speak on it and like
Yeah.
not feel
Yes.
weird and educate. And that's
Yes.
my
I
total
mean,
intention too.
yeah, my theme this year is vital truth.
Okay.
What truth is so vital for us as women and parents and mothers? Because it's just people want to argue over the truth, but I think it's like, let's just start talking. Let's start a conversation. And I believe just truth in general is like this mountain, and you can be at different places and have different vantage points. And maybe you're on the peak and you can kind of see broad spectrum, or maybe you're at the foothills and you're seeing these little small pieces of it. It's like,
Hmm.
I just feel like the more we're talking about it and connecting with other people, we're gonna eventually just find what truth is, and then and then it's going to be more and more accepted.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And just it's perspective. I feel exactly the same way. It's like just looking at things a little differently and like
Hmm.
pretty logically too. Just like, but there's so much cognitive dissonance and
Yeah. Yes. I
wild,
mean,
like very strong opinions.
well, and it's so like I think it's just blocked by emotion.
Yes.
Like you literally can't access your prefrontal cortex when you're freaking out. Like
Yeah.
no no like logical like conversations are going to be happening if you're in limbic lock and load in your limbic system and you're in self-protection and like nothing, no like new solutions are going to grow out of that.
Yes.
And it's let's take the emotion out of it. But I mean, when everybody's hyperstimulated and dysregulated, it makes it a little
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah, which I think is like also by design. The
Hmm.
way everything is presented is meant it's bred from
Yeah.
emotion and like it's
Yeah.
meant to be evocative and
Yeah.
to cause reaction, and then it does,
Yeah.
and like eventually kind of fizzles out, but like there's like chips and it's like more and more division along the way.
Yeah.
And like it's all,
Absolutely.
I think it's also purposeful.
Yeah. I just started TikTok like a year ago or something.
Okay.
Not I've not been on it very long, but I realized like if I'm like a little sassy and a little like,
Mm-hmm.
then it's like it gets way more views, and I it's like if I say like a half truth and
Mm-hmm.
then people like then that it just goes viral. It just because it's inflammatory. But
Yes.
like whenever I share like really good important information, it's like crickets.
Yep. I
It's
have
not going
been
anywhere.
there. Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
it's just so frustrating because it's like how can we disseminate this information,
Yeah. I know.
because peace just doesn't sell.
You're right. You're right. And like also, I consider it one of my skills to not say the wrong thing, like to
Mm,
approach any conversation. Like I had a very, very viral post recently about birth control being a class 1 carcinogen, and very much so just explain like this is about the fact that like we have more options than unwanted pregnancies and birth control. Like there are other options that we're just not taught about or
yeah.
offered, like when you,
Yes.
and that birth control is given in place of a lot of like root cause work and lifestyle changes and things that especially to very, very, very young girls, that
Yeah.
birth control was not the right answer to, but that's what it would just we're thrown under the umbrella of, all right,
Mhm.
well, the only thing I have to offer is birth control. But people will still create such an argument even though they're not arguing against something that I actually said. They're arguing
Yeah.
from what they inferred from the video that I didn't even say. And it is just that pure cognitive dissonance, just it turns on,
Yeah.
and I cannot even respond to the comments and the arguments because
Mhm.
they're different topics. They have nothing to do
Yeah.
with what I was talking about.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
That's
and
fascinating.
it's true. And that is like, that's what gets the reaction. This was not like my
Yeah.
best post. I create a lot of really important content, but that's what gets the people going. The second that they want to
Yep.
argue with you,
Yeah. Oh
there
my
it is.
gosh. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, tell us about your book.
Yes. Okay, so I wrote Quit Complaining a few years ago. I co-authored it with my husband, and it is the top 10 complaints that we both heard most frequently in our separate practices. He used to work with the physical body from like a neuroscience of pain perspective more so than anything else, and then of course I did like all of the internal stuff. and spiritual. And the top 10 complaints, and then like really just bare bones ways of fixing them that were like inexpensive and sometimes often free. So it's an
Yeah.
ebook. You can download it right from my website. And we cover things like weight loss, back pain, sleep, hormone imbalances, the things that just like you've probably complained about at least three of them at some point. And it's just really very blunt, to the point information about how to improve things. Like our sleep chapter, for example, we just take you through like what you're going to learn in a big fat book on sleep. Here's how to just apply this as a regular person with Amazon Prime that's going to just get like blue blockers and instill a
Yeah.
few lifestyle changes and sleep better.
I
And
love that.
yeah, it's really
Yeah,
cool.
because a lot of this stuff, like I tell my patients all the time, they're locked in sympathetics or they're super tight and in pain. And I'm like, well, why don't we start with breathing?
Mm-hmm.
It's free.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
there are these little things that, we're looking for like the magic bullet, but it's really like a combination of just little tweaks with lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's so brilliant.
Yeah. It's extremely common in my practice for clients to reach out, especially towards the beginning, and say, like, oh, should I be taking this, like, methylene blue
Yeah,
or like something like that? I'm sure
right.
you come across the same thing. And I'm like, are you taking vitamin D? Like, are your omega
Yeah,
3s supported?
right,
Have you tried
right.
magnesium? Like, there's so many things
Hmm.
that we need on a foundational level that we're ignoring and trying to go for, like, oh, we saw this influencer talk about, something, this phase 3 or tier 3, like tier 4 supplement. And it's like, but your bare minimum is not there.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Like,
I had my Instacart lady. I love her.
yeah.
But she was like, I want to get pregnant. I bought these herbs off TikTok. And I'm like, what? Like, you just bought random herbs off TikTok for fertility?
Hmm.
Like, I'm like, okay, well, like, what? How much protein are you getting? Like, what's your blood sugar doing? Like, are
Yes.
you taking a prenatal vitamin? And that's what I asked. I said, are you on a prenatal vitamin? And she was like, well, I don't think I should take that if I'm not pregnant. And I
Oh,
was like, well, actually, you can. And it's probably a good idea that you start. But it's just like, people don't realize that you need like the basic building blocks first.
hmm.
Just get like your essential nutrients and see what happens. Like,
Yes.
see how your body responds. And just covering your bases, you can usually do pretty well.
Yeah, absolutely. And also like somehow this is becoming such so full circle, but the fertility is this one, like it's such a beast that people don't understand.
Yeah.
And actually, like by the time people realize like, okay, well, okay, I want to conceive, they want to conceive now.
Yes.
And they
Yes.
haven't done any of the due diligence that their body really needed to prepare. And
Yeah.
like, I've done a lot and I still had 3 chemicals before this pregnancy. And like, I knew what was going on with my body and I had a lot of preparation and I had to like do some real digging to figure out why I continued to have chemical pregnancies. And that is also like, it takes me back to if we weren't given birth control when we were 12
Yeah.
and weren't so disconnected from the way that our bodies work. Like, women
Yeah.
don't know their own body and cycle until they decide
Yeah.
to get pregnant. And then they're like, I don't
Yeah.
know how.
Well, yeah, I have a teenage daughter. And so before she got her first period, I was like, well, this is how it works. Like, you kind of have 4 phases,
Hmm.
like the seasons of the
Yeah.
year. And, and I'm like, even if I had known that in high school, like, I think it could have helped me with my mental health and all kinds of
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
And now I'm really becoming a student of my cycles, and it's so interesting,
Hmm.
like just it's really fun.
Yeah.
to play around with that and discover.
It like what a perfect world it would be if young girls and young women were taught like you feel this way for a reason. Like
Yeah.
you're
Oh,
not crazy. You're
yes.
in a certain part of your cycle where there's
Yeah.
women in their 40s that don't know this
Yeah.
and still
Yeah.
feel crazy. And like, there's jokes around it, there's memes about it, but it's like we can really leverage this energy and like be such a better species if we just like were equipped with information that our bodies are giving us these progress reports and report cards
Yes.
every week
Yes.
over week, and they're ignored, and like we don't understand at
Or
all
then
what to
you're
look
just
for.
like, yeah, like I'm just emotional. I must be crazy. Why am I feeling like this? I'm
Hmm.
feeling all out of sorts, you know. And I had this, I was just at my son's cross country meet and I was talking with one of the girls and I said, well, how's your season going? And she's like, well, not good. And I'm like, well, what's going on? And she's like, well, coach just thinks I'm not trying. You know, I had a bad meet last weekend. And I was like, well, let me ask you this. Like, where are you at in your cycle?
Hmm.
And she's like, I got to think about that. And I was like, you know, like if you pay attention to where you're at, like when I'm ovulating, like my times, like when I run, it's like, it's no effort. Like I'm so much faster. But like right before my period or like on my period, it is like, I'm not even going to go there. Like I'm not even
Hmm.
going to. And just to be a female athlete, you could just go so much easier on yourself
Yeah.
to know that, okay, like I'm in a winter phase. Like I shouldn't push so hard, but having a male coach and all,
Yeah.
it can be
Yeah.
tricky, but because I coach track
Okay.
at the local high school. So I'm really like trying to think about, and I coach with 3 men. So I'm really trying to think about how I can help these girls and
Hmm.
even just with their confidence, because it's just another piece of like, you can really increase your quality of life if you're paying attention to this stuff.
Yeah, and learning it, the younger you learn it, the longer
Hmm.
you can leverage it
Yeah.
and learn
Yes.
more, and also like learn when something's off.
Yes.
Realize
Yeah.
like something
Right.
changed, like what did I do differently? Did I push myself too hard? Am I eating out of sorts, or like
Yeah.
what's going on with me? Because I know something is, because those report cards are looking different. Like my grades are
Yeah.
falling. And like that is just like I don't have a daughter, but that would be just such a priority for me to
Yeah.
teach a young woman. Like you
Yeah.
have so many things, and like we're taught to just plug it up, don't talk about it, it's a secret, it's whatever, it's so taboo. And then you ask a grown woman about her cycles. A, she doesn't know how the birth control that she's been on works, and she like describes her pill bleed, or like just doesn't know. And B, like she hasn't had a natural cycle in so many years, she can't tell you anything about like her flow. And
Right.
that's such important information, like we
Yeah.
have to know. It's like it should
Yeah.
be a requirement, like you have to bleed for a certain amount of time of your life to understand your body, and then maybe you can start to
Yeah.
mess with it.
Yeah, I mean, I think I just last summer learned about like the seasons and like looking at your cycle as a
Hmm.
season. I mean, and I'm 42.
Yeah.
Like, I wish I had known about that and really paid more attention because
Yeah.
I've been pretty regular, but I never noticed like, I mean, there have been times I just have never really paid much attention to like, what are my emotions doing?
Hmm.
And then you can really give yourself so much more grace when you
Yeah.
know like stuff's about to happen. So
Yeah. And
I'm gonna
scheduling,
cry
like,
all day. Like it's
right.
okay.
Right. And like scheduling, like what, like if
Yes.
you're in the dating scene, like schedule your dates for when you're going to feel like connecting with someone, and
Yeah.
putting your best foot forward, and like not when you're in your introspective phase. And just these things, like they really alter our chemistry when we don't lean into like the natural way to do it. And then
Yeah.
there's just so many issues that come up when we're disconnected from that nature.
Yeah.
Like we're
Yep.
designed so perfectly,
I know.
and we just get
Yeah.
so in the way
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah. It's in chiropractic, we talk about innate intelligence
Hmm.
and how really it's not you're not growing that baby. That baby has innate intelligence
Hmm.
and it is building itself using the things you're giving. That baby is doing it, has intelligence.
Yes.
And um and it's like there's everything's intelligent in nature, right? Like so it's like I always use that as a kind of a rule of thumb, like when I'm thinking about a health issue. It's like, okay, what what can we do to balance and help innate, you know do what it needs to do,
Hmm.
because it's trying to tell you something. I love your reference to like using it like a report card.
Hmm.
What's your however, some people have very negative connotations with
Yes.
report cards.
Yes.
Right,
True.
like that
True. True. True.
self-judgment. But I'm really trying to teach my kids with their report cards that this, like, in failure in general,
Hmm.
it's trying to tell you something,
Hmm.
right? So, if you go get labs, and I can remember a point in time where, yeah, I was afraid to look at my labs or afraid to know.
Hmm.
We get my omega-3 testing done. Like, oh, what's it going to say? I'm going to feel really bad about myself if it's
Hmm.
low or, things are off. And if we can move away from being afraid of what your report card's going to say,
Yeah.
then use it as just information.
Yeah.
Take
Yeah.
the emotion out of it again and just, what is my body trying to tell me?
Yes. I think it's like the lack of, or replacing judgment with curiosity is like
Yes.
really, really important with our bodies. And like about what you're teaching your kids, my son calls me from the nurse all the time, like all the time at school. And he'll tell me, oh, he has a headache or whatever. He wants to talk to me throughout the day, and like whatever, whatever. That's a different conversation. But recently I was telling him, if you have a headache, there's three questions let's start with. Number one is, how long have you been staring at the computer? Because they do a ton of learning on the computer. Sometimes you just need to look around. Look around the room, look at something else. Number two, did you drink enough water today? Have a little water. Number three, maybe you need some fresh air. His teacher is extremely kind. They have a back door. Like, she'll let you take a minute and go out there because that's just the kind of teacher that he has. And I'm like, these are things that are available to you that you don't instantly like need to call mommy because you have a headache. And also, like, if you have a headache, which I believe he does, check those things. Just check them out
Yeah.
because that's the
Yep.
same thing I'm going to tell you on the phone. And like, one of those things is probably going to help. And if you try all of those things and you still need to go to the nurse, okay, that's a different story. You probably need Tylenol. I'm just kidding. But yes, it's like there's no judgment. It's like it's curiosity that we really need about our bodies. Like, my skin broke out. Instead of judging whatever it is, it's curiosity. Like, what did I do? What's trying to push its way out of my skin? Not like, how do I cover it, pop this, and like I just hate my
Yeah.
face right now.
Or just slap some whatever cream on it, or,
Exactly, exactly. It's
yeah.
like, what is the body trying to tell me? Where did it show up on my face? Where am I in my cycle? What can I, how do I expect this in the future? How do I prevent it in the future? And just so much curiosity with our behaviors too. Like,
Yeah.
if you binge eat one day and you had been like eating really super clean, it's like, okay, why did I do that? What made me feel like I needed to do that? Instead of like so much just guilt and shame around
Yeah.
what you did.
Yeah, like, instead of asking, I can't remember who said this. I think Mel Robbins said this, but instead of saying what's wrong with me, say what happened? What's happening?
Yeah,
Like, it's not what's
exactly.
wrong with you, it's what's happening here.
Yeah.
Why, what happened to me, or what do I need to process?
Hmm. Yeah, that's the true holistic approach. It's like, what's going on
Mhm.
with me physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually? What happened? A blood sugar thing? Was it an emotional response to something? Is my stress off? Is my stress causing blood sugar issues? Like,
Yeah.
there's just so much information But again, like we're taught to just suppress everything that comes up and not talk about anything. And then what is bred is just so much shame and judgment of ourselves
Yep.
and no curiosity. Like at no point is like there any kind of teaching of being curious about your body, like your bowels, your period, like all of these things that are
Yeah.
just there, just like this amazing
Right.
information that you have that
Yeah.
is like, no, no, that we don't talk about that. That's
Or
taboo.
yeah, or like farming it out to like somebody else.
Hmm.
Well, yeah, just go to the doctor. They'll tell you what to do.
Yes.
Right? Like ignore, you don't need to figure this out. You don't need to be
Yes.
curious about it. Just put it in their hands. I did my job,
Hmm.
you know?
Yes, I outsourced my own self so
Yeah.
somebody else could give me their opinion. That's like, I reference this study all the time. Like, people that are used to me have heard me talk about this, but I remember learning in a prenatal fitness course, like right before I found out I was pregnant with my first. I remember learning about this study that had women giving birth in the hospital, and they had them hooked up to the monitors with a screen, like just typical practice. And when the nurse came in to check in with mom, like something like 95% of them, before answering how they felt, looked at the screen.
I know this study. Yeah, I remember
It's
learning
so
that.
fascinating that
Yeah.
like we're like, oh, how did I feel? Like, oh, how did I sleep? Let me check my
Yeah.
aura ring. Like,
Yeah.
like you don't know how you feel because you're not used to answering
Yeah.
like any of the most like the bare bones questions. Like you're not used to answering that. Like I still
Right.
ask my son every day, like, did you go to the bathroom today at school? And like because I want to know.
Yeah.
Like, did you or where are we on the scale? And like he's
Right.
like,
Right.
but like I want him to be able to recognize like I didn't go today or today was a mess or like, so that we can
Yeah.
figure
Right.
out there needs to be curiosity about our
Yes.
our bodies and also like an inner knowing,
Mm-hmm.
not what does my app say or what does that
Yeah.
monitor say?
Yeah, that's huge. And that was like my one like big intention for my last birth, because with my fourth birth, it was like I kept like looking at my midwife because I thought it was going to go really fast. It's my fourth baby.
Yeah.
Like, the last two were like really super pretty easy, and we were going on, and I mean, it was in the middle of the day. There are a lot of factors now that I look back and
Mm-hmm.
but I kept looking at her,
Mm-hmm.
and like, what's going on? And I realized after the fact, it was like, I need to be in me. I need to know with every fiber of myself, like what's going on in me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll know it was, I did a free birth with my last one. And that,
Nice.
that was like, my intention was knowing that I know that I know in
Yes.
here,
Yes.
because if something is off, I am going to know.
Yeah.
And that's all I needed. And once I got kind of really centered, but it took me so much mind work, mind training,
Mm-hmm.
get there
Yeah.
to, really just exploring my inner self and mind and fears, and just, it's work, you know?
Yeah. Oh
And
yeah.
people look at me and they're like, oh, you have 5 kids, you just plopped them out. It's like, oh God, no, like, it's everyone is a different challenge.
Mm-hmm.
It brings up different things. I mean, spiritually, I feel like it's just always it's just a same game, different level.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you're undoing so much at the same time. Your
Hmm.
your tendency to look at your midwife is like that's what we have figured out as normal. The way that like little kids, they look at they fall and they look
Oh,
and
yeah.
see like, well, how did my mom react? And that's how they decide whether or
Yes.
not they're going to cry.
Yep.
So yeah, like it's so normal for us to be outsourcing mostly everything about how we feel. But then there's just so much inner knowledge that's really,
Yeah.
really quiet until it's a really
Yeah.
big deal and then it starts screaming. But for the
Yeah.
most part, it's like it's pretty quiet. Like your skin, like all of the things that present how you're doing, like especially from like an Ayurvedic standpoint, that's like really on my mind right now. It's all really subtle until it's not.
Mm.
So it's really easy
Yeah.
for us to ignore, like the way our tongue looks on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
Like I look at my tongue every single day, twice a day. Like when I brush my teeth, I always check it out. And that is one of the easiest things to ignore, just not staring at your
For
tongue
sure.
in the mirror every day.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, so it's just like there's so much inner knowing. Our bodies are so well designed and will tell us so much about what's going on. We just have to check in with them.
Yeah. Yep. And make it a practice. I just started a good practice in the morning again, just doing my breath work, doing my stretching, doing some muscle engagement, and just centering and just getting quiet, because when I don't, you're just doing,
Yeah.
and it's unconscious. And even before this podcast, I like made a moment to like center, get intentional, like,
Hmm.
and I just feel like I've noticed if I don't do that, I feel a little more like, like
Right? I know.
maybe a little less like pulled together.
Yeah, we
Um,
need to drop in and like really feel where we are 100% to perform our
yeah.
best.
Thank you, Amanda. You shared with us so many amazing aspects of health. Uh, please tell us where everybody can find your products and your where you're at on social media and your book and all of that.
Yeah. So everything is holisticmamasshop.com, and then you can get to my social media from there. But I'm the.holistic.mama on TikTok and a holistic coach on Instagram. I'm also on Substack and YouTube, and I do a Pinterest, like all the things to get the content out there.
Yep.
And I'm also like really easy to reach out to also. Like if you have any questions, Amanda at hlcoachinggroup.com, HL for holistic lifestyle. And I mean, I love sharing information and giving people all the resources of like all the content I've created. Um, I'm always open to a conversation, 15 minutes or so to answer some
Awesome.
questions and point you the right direction. Like that's my gift to anyone that wants to know more and learn more and be better.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, what a blessing. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.